Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have a meeting with a man who's become a friend of mine, and we've known each other for a little while in some very interesting times, and we get along. Our countries get along very well. We have a great affinity for each other, and the Chancellor has been very well received in Germany. He's a very successful man, became the Chancellor of Germany, which is a big deal. And he's doing a very good job, in my opinion, a great job, very popular. And the relationship that we have in trade and everything else has been very strong. We've been able to do our deals, and it's been very strong. We'll obviously be talking a little bit about Iran today, and he's been helping us out. We've been very nice, actually. And that is coming along, as you see, very well. They have no Navy. It's been knocked out. They have no Air Force. It's been knocked out.
In a wide-ranging Oval Office exchange, President Trump forcefully defended recent U.S. strikes on Iran, arguing they were necessary to prevent a larger regional conflict. Responding to repeated questions from reporters, he rejected the idea that Israel pressured the United States into action. Instead, he suggested the opposite, that the U.S. may have moved first because intelligence indicated Iran was preparing to strike. Trump described the operation as decisive and overwhelming. He claimed Iran's Navy, Air Force, radar systems, and missile infrastructure had been significantly degraded. According to the president, the strikes dramatically reduced Iran's ability to launch coordinated attacks, though he acknowledged that some missiles were still being fired. He framed the action as preventive rather than reactive, emphasizing that, in his view, waiting would have increased the risk of a broader war or even nuclear escalation. He also argued that the operation, reportedly referred to as Midnight Hammer, was carefully timed to stop what he characterized as imminent aggression. When asked about worst-case scenarios, Trump said the biggest risk would be regime change that produces leadership no better than the last. While he declined to name specific figures for Iran's future leadership, he made clear that the U.S. would prefer a more moderate government to emerge, though he stopped short of detailing how that transition might happen. The message from the president was consistent. This was not a limited symbolic strike. It was, in his words, a strategic move designed to reset the balance of power and deter future threats.
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. And now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that, but they hit countries that had nothing to do with what's going on. They were sort of leaving everything alone. All of a sudden they had missiles shot in, which shows you the level of evil that we're dealing with. They'll hit people that were actually at least somewhat friendly, and they had no problems with it. Also hitting only civilian places, hotels and apartment buildings, and we're hitting them where it is much more appropriate. We're hitting them very hard. And the big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection. They no longer have any detection facilities at all left, and so they're gonna be in for a lot of hurt. These are bad people. These are people that killed. I guess it's 35,000. It's coming out 35,000 over the last 3 weeks. Protesters, 35,000 violently killed. So these are bad people, and the leader of the pack is gone.
Standing beside the German chancellor, Trump portrayed the U.S. action as part of a broader international alignment against Iran. The chancellor voiced support for confronting what he described as a destabilizing regime and stressed the importance of planning for the day after, a post-conflict strategy that ensures regional stability. The German leader acknowledged the economic risks involved, including rising oil and gas prices, which could strain European economies. Still, he emphasized the shared goal of ending the conflict quickly while protecting security interests in Europe and the Middle East. However, not all allies were treated equally in the discussion. Trump openly criticized Spain for refusing to meet higher NATO defense spending targets and suggested potential trade consequences. He also expressed frustration with the United Kingdom over strategic cooperation issues, particularly regarding military access. The tension highlighted a larger issue. While there appears to be coordination on confronting Iran, divisions remain within NATO and the European Union over defense spending, energy policy, and trade. Trump underscored his belief that U.S. leverage, including tariffs and executive trade authority, gives Washington significant influence in shaping those relationships. Despite these criticisms, the Oval Office moment showed visible cooperation between the U.S. and Germany, signaling that at least some European partners are aligned with Washington's current approach. Beyond Iran, the press conference expanded into a broader geopolitical discussion. Reporters raised concerns about rising energy prices and the economic fallout of escalating conflict in the Middle East. Both leaders acknowledged that oil and gas markets are sensitive to instability, though Trump expressed confidence that prices would stabilize once the conflict subsides. On Ukraine, Trump admitted that ending the war between Russia and Ukraine has proven more difficult than anticipated. He described deep hostility between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and said that while diplomacy remains a priority, emotional and political divisions are significant obstacles. Trump also suggested that weakening Iran could indirectly affect Russia's position, particularly if Iranian military support to Moscow declines. However, he stopped short of outlining a direct linkage strategy between the two conflicts. The overarching theme of the press conference was projection of strength, militarily, economically, and diplomatically. Trump repeatedly emphasized U.S. military capability and supply readiness, portraying the country as well-equipped for sustained operations if necessary. Still, major questions remain unanswered. What would a post-Iran leadership transition look like? How long can global energy markets absorb instability? Will NATO unity hold if tensions expand further? And can diplomatic channels still prevent wider regional escalation? As the situation develops, the focus now shifts from a success of the initial strikes to the long-term consequences for Iran, for U.S. allies, and for global security.